Good morning, professional colleagues. Good morning, friends of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. I want to welcome you to the March edition of the CITN Taxation and You, where we give insight, educate our people on the contemporary things relating to economy, relating to taxation, and also grooming and growing, developing our country with the expertise that we are made for. It's a great privilege to be here once again in the month of March, and I won't be doing this alone today. I have my co-host, Dr. Ayodeji. Good morning and glad to be here.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be back once again. Looking forward to an exciting moment with our madam, our guest.
Thank you. Maybe every one of you must have sent the flyers out there and you're wondering. Today, we are hosting for the first time, a female executive chairman. This is the first time I'm guesting a female. Most people thought in their widest dream that once you hear about executive chairman, it must be a man. That is a fallacy. Something different is coming. And it gives me great pleasure to have in our midst this morning the executive chairman, Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, a woman I will call doing exploits than men. Even in the folks, our own Mrs. Shade Omoniyi, ACTI. Good morning and glad to have you here this morning, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. It's very good to be here. I'm very glad to be part of this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And it will interest you that our topic of discourse this morning is the industry for the future, taxation and technology. And somebody is asking me, taxation technology, and a woman is coming to address that. I will interest you to let you know that this is a woman that one way or the other has introduced diverse initiative and reforms leveraging on technology. Let me emphasize that in transforming the revenue base of Kwara State. And that's why we got attracted and feel what a man can do, I want to believe a woman can do better, even though I'm from the men folks, but I think this woman is making the difference. And that will lead me to straight asking the question, ma, to say, can you give us an overview of tax administration in Kwara State? And also, as a woman, what is the support that you have enjoyed from the executive governor and the stakeholders in Kwara State?
Thank you very much, moderator. To start with, an overview of tax administration in Kwara State. I believe revenue administration in Kwara started from way back since 1967, when we had what we call the Commissioner for Revenue then. And over the years, we've had different nomenclature up until 2015, when the state government decided to enact the Revenue Administration Law of 2015, and the Kwara State Internal Revenue Service was created. So over that period, before 2015, we've had 11 different people, including our doyen, Chief D.A. Olorunleke. He was Commissioner for Revenue in Kwara State from 1974 to 1975. In 2015, KWRS was created, and the first executive chairman was Dr. Murtala Awodun. His tenure ended in 2019, and I was appointed by the executive governor, Malam Abdurrahman Abdurazak, CON, and the chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum as the executive chairman of Kwara State Internal Revenue Service for a 4-year term, which was renewed in 2023. So I'm on my second term right now. Okay. So that is a brief history of KWIRS. And we all know our executive governor as somebody who believes so much in their he has the history of having 50% of his cabinet being of the female force. I have so many others that are in the administration. And I believe that is one of the reasons why he has felt confident enough to also retain me on this position. So His Excellency has been somebody who is quite committed to revenue generation in Kwara State. And he has been supporting us in very, very many ways. And this has shown in our results. And I believe that the sky is the limit. We still have a very long way to go, but we see the opportunities and we are ready to challenge them, focus on them, and get the best out of what we can do for the state and for the people, because taxation and revenue generation goes both ways, allows government to be able to bring the dividends of democracy to the people, and at the same time for the people to enjoy what it is that they've been able to put to the table. So basically, to give you a very short one, that's the brief history of tax administration in Kwara State. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the brief and overview of tax administration and the way it was and the way it is now in Kwara State. And go straight to the next question. We want to know those sectors that have immense tax compliance since you have assumed office since 2019. Those sectors who have helped you to generate this revenue that we are seeing today and that have placed you on another level beyond your peer within the rank and file of the executive chairman. Over to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. For us in Kwara, one of the sectors that has really done well, you want to start with those that are enforced by law directly. A very good example is payee, especially from the FMDAs, from schools, from the civil servants. You know, those ones are remitted directly. So you to a reasonable extent, you have some level of compliance, although there are so many issues there into.
Okay.
And then the next one, of course, is the informal sector. You know, because of some of the things we have introduced, to a reasonable level of compliance, they've been adequate. But if you ask me, those that really are not pulling their weight, of course, they're the HNIs. The HNIs believe so much that they could do a lot of things. So it's been a lot of drama as far as HNIs is. And also with institutions, it's been more about using technology to improve in the way they do their remittance and getting information, correct information about exactly what it is that they're supposed to be remitting, so that we find some ways in reducing the tax gap between what they're supposed to pay and what exactly we are getting on our end. So reasonably, I think payee has been a very major fundamental contribution and being able to improve on the compliance as far as payee is concerned. And of course, the informer, those are the ones I would count as the major contributors of compliance to a particular level in the job that we have been doing.
Thank you very much, Ma. And I have to state that I understand the mechanism when you talk about the HNIs. You don't step on toes, otherwise you get a call from presidency speaking to why must you turn the. But I'm sure the approach you just mentioned now will definitely give a safe landing as we progress, because technology is the way to go. And I can see a lot of that with some of the reforms being proposed by the Taiwo Yedele-led committee. By the time technology brings it to your table, you don't talk to Mrs. Omoni or look for the head of payee. You talk to the system. And if you can beat the system, go ahead and do that. And that leads me to the next question, that we were able to have a research. And it shows that under your leadership as the executive chairman of Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, your IGR has witnessed an upward trajectory up to 100%. And this is not that we are overhyping it. It is a fact that is out there for public domain compared to when you assumed office. Can you just share with our listeners, our viewers, what are those initiatives that was carried out while you came in? And I'm sure that you are consolidating on now that actually to raise the bar for the states.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. If I need to start listing all the initiatives, we're going to need more than 1 hour, but I'm just going to touch some few ones that really has helped us tremendously. Yeah, there are some basic solutions that most IRSs now have put in place. As at this moment, we have a lot of things like being able to generate your tax assessment and file your returns online, being able to request for TCC online. Those things have now become quite basic. Almost all IRSs have that now. But what we have been able to do specifically about Kwara is using the systems that we have in identifying people. Using the systems that we have in ensuring that the information we get is accurate. I'll give you an example. Collection of fees from schools. Before now, what we used to have is whatever the schools tell us they collect is what is reported. But now we have systems that can look at the collections at the back end, access to their portals. And when you give them the correct information, the technology would not lie. So information is very, very much available. We've also introduced, we have our own resident number in Kwara. So that means every resident of the state is supposed to have this unique number if you're in the tax net. So we challenge ourselves on a daily basis. Every staff of Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, as part of your duties, to continuously update the tax table. So that means we are always constantly adding people to this list with identification. Now, the beauty of this is moving along to the line where these numbers will also be used in identifying those who need social services. So it is not a tax number. It is to know who you are in the state. And with this, you are able to access social services, and then the state government knows more about you to be able to leverage on that information maybe later. We also went ahead to design our own vehicle management system. We had a solution in-house before, but it was not adequate for us, and we were losing revenue. We also were not getting the necessary support. So our IT guys in-house developed our vehicle management system, and it has been working very, very well for us, and it has increased our revenue in that area in multiple folds. We also created an e-center. You know, some people, when it comes to payments, rather than going to the bank, they just want somewhere to pay. So we created an e-center. So all these technology services, all the platforms we have created, because you can pay from any of our platforms, we made it all available in an e-center right in front of our office. So you don't need to go to the bank. You can just come to us. If you don't want to pay online from the comfort of your home, you get the assistance that you need. So some of us are not so IT savvy. Even if you ask them to pay online on their own, there's a problem. So if we have an office where we can come into and we'll guide you in doing all of this. And of course, some of the other basic things that we know we have made available, POSs in all our hospitals for collections. And we also, in 2018, the service was certified for quality management and for business continuity, ISO standard. And we have retained this. In fact, December last year, we just recertified for another 3 years. So our processes are such that it is not human dependent. It does not matter who is on that role. Things are done the way it's supposed to be done. We also try as much as possible to eliminate leakages to the BRS minimum with our technology. We have an internal control department. Our internal audit department is also very, very efficient. So we keep professionalism to the best of our ability. Everybody knows that you just don't get caught. So we don't compromise on things like that. So we ensure that at our own end, because leakages is all over the place, at our own end, we ensure that we minimize that to the barest minimum, which has helped tremendously. Now, like I said, we also have, we've introduced ticketing in our informal sector. This has helped, especially when we come to collections, especially the ones that has to do with local government collections and state government collections. So we introduced ticketing to remove the incidence of multiple taxation, such that when we collect, we then share at the back end. This has made it very seamless for our taxpayers in ensuring that we don't do more than we're supposed to do. Then finally, we have many ministries with different revenue lines that are being collected. So what we have introduced, we call it the harmonized bill, such that instead of having revenue officers from different ministries going to the same person, we issue you a bill that covers all your payments, from all ministries, and you have the opportunity of paying in installments. That way, we are able to cover more ground. We are able to insist on the right amount to pay. And we eliminate the incidence of individuals in MDAs going to taxpayers to collect money, either with manual bills or by collecting money and just putting it in their pocket. So it's more about ring-fencing everything and using technology to ensure that all of these leakages are blocked. So it's more about blocking leakages and increasing the tax net. Those are the things we've introduced technology to do. And at the beginning of this tenure, of this administration, His Excellency told us that he doesn't want to increase rates. What he wants to do is for us to find ways to increase the tax net such that, exactly, so that we can, because we have so many people not on the tax net. Our people over time have really not indoctrinated the belief in taxation. So it's a lot of work getting people to even agree to pay. So at the end of the day, we focus more on increasing tax. And that's why I said at the beginning, everybody, in fact, on a weekly basis, we monitor how many new taxpayers have been brought into the tax net every week. And we compare local government by local government. So that's, everybody knows that is the tax they have to do. Some years past, we even had that as part of our appraisal system. We run a very efficient appraisal system. Month by month basis, every single person has a budget, what you're supposed to bring to the table. And we try to the best of our ability to ensure that it is efficient and it is fair. You understand? So everybody runs with that. If you ask Inquirer State, most people will tell you that this place is run in a way that is kind of different. And it's more of like a private sector setup in a public sector environment. So the rules guide and everybody knows you don't play around, you do what you're not supposed to do. There are penalties and consequences for it. So those are some of the...
Let me interject you, man, because one thing I can say from here is when a woman is at the end of her affair, your last statement is what we get. You must see that touch of the feminine touch of motherly rule. You know, there's a way you make that thing when we are not even ready to comply. You are just seeing yourself because the persuasiveness, you know, before your mother bring out cane to flog you, there must be a lot of persuasion. But you know, for women, we go straight to it. You see that, you know, when your daddy is coming, you start shaking. But when mommy is coming, even when mommy is going to beat you, you would have complied. And I think that is the gimmick that is actually working there. But I want to have a follow-up question to this before I give the floor to my co-anchor. You mentioned something about ticketing.
Yeah.
And that area gives me so much concern. Are we speaking to e-ticketing or the normal printed one that myself and Ayo, as partners in progress, can decide to duplicate? Which one are we adopting in Kwara State?
Okay, for now, we are transiting from the one you and I know to the e-ticketing.
Brilliant.
We are in the process of transition.
Yeah.
But what we try to do is carry everybody along. You know, I said some of it has to do with local government. So
Yeah.
in places we do ticketing that involves local government, each of the local government chairmen is carried along on what is made available in each of their local government areas, and the openness in how the money is shared. And then we bring them on board to be part of it because they are the champions of their areas. So they would be the ones to help us in increasing the tax net as far as ticketing is concerned. But we are presently transiting into e-ticketing. I believe before the end of this year, we should have concluded on that.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Madam, for more enlightenment on that. Yes, you have said a lot about the involvement of the technology in everything you do, and one must also appreciate those initiatives. But I want to believe no pain, no gain. And you have earlier mentioned one of the pain, which is HNIs. So, Madam, tell us some of the challenges you encountered in implementing all these initiatives.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. One major one, which I believe everybody has the same problem, is the trust deficit. Mm-hmm. People don't believe when you collect money, you're going to use it for their benefit. So there's a lot of pushback from the taxpayers. But the good thing about it is in Kwara, if you have been noticing the trend in Kwara now, what everybody has been saying, everyone can see where the money is going. Great. So that in its own has helped us with that particular challenge. It has opened doors for us. I can tell you proudly that recently I had to write some letters to some HNIs, appreciating them for responding positively. And their comment is, we can see where the money is going. I have people who have backlog of years that never paid before, HNIs that have paid. And it is quite amazing. So for me, I think it's a two-way street. Okay. Government spend the money judiciously, and people will also respond. Some people will respond. Some, no matter what you do, they are not going to respond anyway. Mm-hmm. So some people respond. And we have seen, I am a very, very valid advocate, and I have seen it. I've had to write letters just to appreciate some people. Now, we have the issues of middlemen group. That's what we call them here. The associations, the school associations, market associations, traders associations, the petrol marketers, all those marketers, they have the association such that they would rather pay their taxes or revenues through their association. Now, taxes and revenues is supposed to be for individuals, but they will hide under associations. And where you have somebody that is supposed to be paying personal income tax of 150,000, 200,000, they pay you 6,000 naira. And then the association will tell you they are responsible. Recently, in the last 2 years, we've been at war with associations in Kwara State. And we have told them we appreciate associations, there's benefit for it, but the matter of taxes, leave it for individuals. Yeah. We will come and assess ourselves and get the information on what each person is supposed to be paying. So that's a major challenge. The next one is the non-convergence of data sources. Okay. We have data sources scattered all over the place. We have data in lands. We have data in hospitals. We have data with the civil servants. We have the Bureau of Statistics. We have with local government. We have practically everywhere. But having all of them come together for the purposes of just being able to go to a particular point and get information after it is a major challenge for tax assessment. It's a major challenge in identifying who is doing what. For the big guys, the HNIs, when you want to buy land, most of them, they use the draftsmen or people or architects working with their project to go and process their land matters. And what happens when they do that? They use their own identity, not the identity of the owner.
Yeah, no.
So when you want information about such people, somebody will tell you, I'm supposed to pay only this amount, but the person is buying property of hundreds of millions of naira across the state. So identity is very, very key. And if we don't have this convergence of all the data sources, correct data, it's also a problem. So unique identifier is key. I know the Tax Reforms Committee has recommended the NIN as the identifier, but you see, right now, what that means is everybody needs to come and reference the NIN. Everybody has different identities in different locations. For us in Kwara, we're introducing the Kwara State Resident Registration Number. This number would encompass everyone that needs anything or is resident in Kwara. It will also be used for social services. So if the governor decides they want to do something for a particular group of people, you have to use that. So we need to get to a point where this identification is used to identify. If you want to touch any government activity in the state, you provide your resident identification. So those people in lands, for example, even if you are representing somebody, you need to use that person's number. So we know exactly who is doing what.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of it. We have the insurance agency in Kwara. There are so many people who have registered. Who is registered for insurance? If you look at most of these films or movies we see online, you see when they're doing investigation and looking for somebody, all they need to do is a click of a button. You know where the person has used his card, you know his tax returns, you know the property he has, if he's ever bought anything. It's convergence of information. So you can just know who is where. And it also helps us in investigation, especially when we are looking for people or where we can find them. And of course, corruption.
Okay.
Major.
That's
and it is everywhere.
That is pandemic.
Sometimes we have issues of connivance, but it's a pandemic. Connivance between people working in the hospital and the revenue officer that is collecting money. And they have different reports. Bringing it together, you find out that somebody did the service of 2,800 and they give a receipt of 800 naira. The two conveniently disappears. We see that every time. We see that every time. So it's a problem and it's everywhere. I tell people that in Nigeria, where you work, people always look at you to say, we want to render support or render service or want to help our person. And I tell everyone, the IRS is not a place where anybody can offer you any support or help you to do something. For any time you decide to help your brother or your sister in an IRS, you are not doing your job, because the only thing you can offer them is reducing how much they're going to pay. And I tell everybody, I don't have the right to do that. Assessment is by law. There are things that are guiding it. If you don't do what you're supposed to do and you do something lower, you are not doing your job. Exactly. So if you work in the IRS, you are not in a place where you'll be offering support or services to people or to help them. Somebody tells me, you need to help us, this assessment is too big. When we ask for information, bank account, all of that, they rush back. So if you don't give me the information I need, there's no way I can help you. So those are some of the few challenges. There's still plenty, but let me just leave it at those ones for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The challenges are enormous, and I think this is where that word comes in, that uneasy lies the head or where's the crowd. And sincerely speaking, I would say I don't envy people in this kind of a seat, because there are different things you're facing. Let me state here once again that if you are just joining us, I've been guesting our own, the first female executive chairman that I'll be having on this show. The executive chairman of Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, Mrs. Shadi Omoni, ACT, and she's actually been dissecting some of the things that have been happening in Kwara State. You see, Kwara is another place I visit, some of the time, and I can see when it comes to social contracts, give it to Kwara State. You see a lot of their roads within the states are quite motorable. And I think if you are able to fulfill your part as government, the people are ready to make available their own payment. So I want to go to the next question, which possibly address the topic of discourse. When we talk about the industry for the future, it's about our projection toward the future of automation for industrial revolution, of taxation and revenue will be. What are your plans? We can see the ones that you've done, and I can tell you it's the tip of the iceberg of what Kwara State should be. At least you are one of the states that is projecting that despite that you can call Kwara State to be in that region, they are competing favorably with some of the states that you can talk about. So I want to ask, what are those future plans that you have to develop this using technology as a driver to increase the revenue base?
Like you said, well, my background is technology. I'm an engineer by training. So I look at, as an engineer, you look at what are the issues and how do you provide solutions, especially when there are problems. Yeah, when there are problems. So, and that's basically what an engineer does anyway. So using technology is about how can we make our jobs better. We know what the challenges that we have. I touched on some of them already. On the issue of having information, data is very, very key. And that is where the convergence of data or system comes in. Looking at, as you increase the tax base, you have so many taxpayers you need to deal with. There's need to automate all routine processes such that you don't get burdened by things like that. You can release yourself for some more valuable exercises or more valuable returns on the things you need to do. So for me, one of the beginning of assessing of taxing anybody, of course, is the tax assessment. So if you're able to get your tax assessment process right, especially with technology, it goes a long way to assist you. So first of all, insights, data-driven insights, which you can do even with AI is very, but for AI to work, it is about making the information available, correct information. So it will enhance data-driven insights. It will help you in supporting the client's communication because now you are better informed. You know the things that you did not know before. It also helps in predictive intelligence. You can predict where things are going, especially with data. So we are looking at, as our number of taxpayers increases, we're looking at systems that will help us to do our jobs better. We're looking at allowing more time to focus, like I said, on higher value systems, on higher value tasks. So we will be working seriously in getting more information and then being able to bring it all into one place. When you do your tax returns, automatically we get the assessment done from your tax returns. So there are so many things we are working on. Another thing is the ERP. We're introducing the ERP in our system such that even our accounting and bringing it together with the job that we do, having a process such that everything flows automatically. So that's basically some of the initiatives we're doing. ERP. Hopefully before the end of this year, our ERP should be up and running. We are looking at convergence of systems. We are looking at consolidating all our systems into one. You know, when you have so many systems you are working with, you have access issues, you have everybody running after how many passwords and things like that. So it becomes a problem. So having a consolidation of everything together is also very, very key. We are also having systems, providing more systems for everybody. Our population in the service were about 1,000, and I don't think everyone is online real time. So we want to have a situation where whether you are in Ilorin or you are far away in Baritin local government, what you get in one location is similar with what you have in another location. This is also exactly, and this is even more pronounced and is made very important because of our ISO certification in quality management and in business continuity, which is quite rigorous. Like I said, we just finished the audit in December and we just got recertified. So we are challenged to ensure that the kind of service you get in the state capital is similar with what you get in any other location in state. So those are some of the initiatives that we are looking at.
Sincerely speaking, we can see the touch that you are putting to the revenue generation in Kwara State, and we allude to it that it's top notch. We can only ask for more. I'm sure you know, as citizen, we are Oliver Twist. Even when you're performing, we can only say you can do better. And I'm sure if you have one of your team that is actually meeting your target on monthly basis, you will not just pat him at the as you are patting, you are going to double the raise. And I think I'm speaking the art of the people in Kwara State that you're doing wonderfully well as the chairman. Will expect more in giving value to our people. So if you are at home and it's time to open the line for us to have maybe one or two questions before we bring the program to a close. So you can signify by raising up your hand. But before I come to people raising up your hands, you can take the question down, ma, so we can take it all together. Maybe like 3 or 4 you can address it so that we don't just have it one after the other. But let me first take the question from Abdul Hafiz. He's saying, why does the IRS
why doesn't
IRS make a refund
for overpaid?
Okay, for overpaid payee. And also, why do we allow them to pay water rates in that particular area? That's from Abdulaziz. Why is it that we don't make refund when they overpay, and then why are they actually paying water rate to the Internal Revenue Service? I think you answered that question by saying we are already, and I think it's enlightenment, which you will still share by the time you'll be attending to that question. Let me open the line by recognizing Lekon Rutimi. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
MC Easy, good morning. Thank you very much, and Doctor, for bringing this pride of ours. I was one of the pioneer directors, and with keen interest, we've watched and followed what I've watched with keen interest what goes on with Kwara State Internal Revenue Service because of the enormity of what we put in at the start. Permit me to say here, without mincing words and without patronizing, this woman has done wonderfully well. I don't know how often she gets this kind of compliments, but we're really proud of her. Thank you very much for bringing her up. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that is a very fine way to start the question, Mr. Lekon, by giving compliment. This is the first time I'm asking people to ask questions, and it is complimented. That's the power of a woman. No? Okay, let me welcome Olaiton. Can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the chairman of my state to come on board to talk about Kwara State internal revenue. I'm so happy because I'm from that state, and thank God that the present governor we have is a very workaholic person. So I'm not surprised to bring a quality, person to come and handle the revenue. So that's a good one. Now, my question is this: is that, madam, in Kwara State is more of civil servant states, and in the informal sectors, we need to look. They need to look into it. And I noticed that the governor is really doing well, but some of the some of the policy whereby it takes some hard decision on some of these market people, like the one in the Unity, he fends them out. There's no way people can access them for them to be able to sell and all those stuff. So how do you handle it? Then the religion boycott. Yes, sir. I don't know how government will be able to handle it because it's like we count ourselves more of a not central. So the I don't know how often the commission enlighten people about tax because I travel to Ilorin often, and most time I notice that people don't even understand why they have to pay tax.
Okay.
There is no, even though some of the staff are not well grounded how to educate. It happens everywhere. So
thank you very much, Olaitan.
Your comment has been taken, and Madam will respond to that. I think tax enlightenment is one of the things he's advocating for. How to talk to all these our people. So let's Mr. George, I will share you. Unmute yourself, please, and ask your question, Mr. George. Why Ayodimeji should get ready? Mr. George, are you there?
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor.
Please go ahead, sir.
Mr. Thank you for this woman that you brought today. Since the delivery was fantastic. So I want to start by commending her.
Thank you very much.
Now, my question is this. I'm impressed with the development in Kwara State. A few months ago, I happened to go there for wedding and stuff like that. So I went to the state capital. Then on my way back, I drove down through the Kwara South. So I want to ask if it's something that is within the purview of the madam, so that the development, the project that are being done, they are not lopsided. I'm happy that Mr. Session talked about the development in Ilorin, but down the line, some other places, I don't know if it's within our purview to make the suggestion to the government that even as the it's not lopsided.
Okay, she will definitely respond to that, but I know that our core duty is to go and find the money. So thank you very much, Mr. George. Let's welcome Ayodimeji. Ayodimeji, please unmute and ask a question. Okay, while Ayodimeji is trying to unmute his or herself, can we have a gossip?
Hello? Okay, I'm here now.
Ayodimeji, you are here. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm particularly happy to commend the state chairman, the Kwara State chairman of Internal Revenue Service. She has been a very wonderful person. She has done a lot. I'm from Kwara. Apparently, she came to office when I was the chairman of the district CITN Ilorin and Society. And we are so very proud of what she has done. Very, very proud of her. And I want her to keep putting it up, and the God will continue to be a source of strength. Having said that, I want to ask a question or also give an advice. When ministries give their own bill for you to collate, is there a way you check whether those bills are relevant to the person that is to be billed? For example, we have instances of somebody being given a collated bill. No, because like she said, the way she has introduced the collection now, it makes it so good. But you still have some ministry putting their names and amount where it does not concern the person that they are billing. So I want our department to check whether there is a way they can ask the particular ministry or MGA if that is relevant to the person they are billing. And that is one. Two, I also want to advise that there is still the need for more education. She should not throw away the association that brought these people on board. They came because the association was trying to help to collect tax then. Agreed. Most of them prefer to go to the association because what the association will tell them to pay with very, very small. And payee, like she said, is an individual thing. But having said that, she can still work with the association to enlighten them so that they will now see it as a personal thing, and they will now be coming straight to the Internal Revenue Service to make their payment. Again, I want to commend her. She has really done very well. Please let us give her a round of applause if it is possible.
Thank you very much. With the
Yeah.
accolades I'm getting here this morning, Madam Shade, I think you just need to get myself and Ayo a plot of land in GRA so that we could come and relocate straight to Kwara State. Because rather than asking questions, people are just, applauding you for the good work. And we acknowledge that and we appreciate it. Agosu Kayode, can we have your question, please? Agosu Kayode, unmute and ask.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me, sir?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. We can hear you.
Loud and
All
clear.
right. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And, it won't be too much if I also add my accolade to Madam this morning.
Okay.
I'm not from Kwara State anyway, and I'm not living in Kwara State, but my job have to do with the Kwara State Internal Revenue Service. And truth be told, the feedback we are having with dealing with them is, in fact, I couldn't expect such a thing from Kwara State anyway, in terms of in technology. So they are doing well. Okay. But that being said, my question this morning, it might not be actually to Kwara State, so to say, but probably to the institute and say, is the around issue of business premises and development levy. I had this encounter that currently in Kwara State now, their business premises is 60,000 naira. Meanwhile, what we know or what is practicable in other states we are having is business premises for the first year is 10,000 naira and subsequent year for renewal 5,000. So I have this argument because there was audit we did about 2 years ago. I have this argument and eventually they said this is our own law and this is what it's stating. Okay. And I have similar encounter also on development levy in Kogi State. Kogi State development levy that now is I think 10,000 naira per head. Okay. Meanwhile, here in Lagos, we are paying 100 naira per head. And that I want to believe. So I'm looking at what's the position of JTB in harmonizing this so that we that are operating in different states. I'm here in Lagos, but we have operation in different states. So we should be able to have the same thing that's applicable in every state. But getting to a state, we say business premises in Lagos is 5,000. And we are going to Kwara State with 60,000, and we find it difficult to convince management that we are paying for different premises. So, what is the position of the institute in harmonizing this? Thank you.
Okay, she may not be able to respond for the institute, but at least we'll address that from our own side. Yeah, exactly. And if you have any of our elders, I'm sure they will address that. But she will speak to having that. I'll take the last two questions. Orais. Please unmute and ask your question.
All right. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, coordinators, for this wonderful program. I also want to say what Madam has done in Kwara State is great. I reside in Lagos State, not in Kwara State, but I have a few observations towards the last returns that was filed. My advice is an advice, right? That companies filed returns, yes, filed both the hard and maybe the soft copy online. However, we did not get a feedback from Kwara State that such returns has been filed. Okay. We also filed the hard copies, and the hard copies were returned. I think going forward, what the revenue should do is to also receive the hard copies and also take that. If they receive the soft copies, it's also fine. Then returning it back to the taxpayer. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
So, Adamu, yes. Adamu Ibrahim, please unmute yourself.
And that will be our last question because our time is fast spent.
Our time has been fast spent. Adamu, over to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
How are you doing?
Let me start by appreciating your effort, madam. You have done well in Kwara State. Thank you for that. My question with regard to informal sector. Madam, especially with regard to those that are semi-formal within the informal sector. I tag them formal within the informal. What are you doing with regard to those people? you will see that they are a little bit formal, but they are being categorized as informal. People like chartered accountants, lawyers, and estate agents, surveyors, and those, because they are a little bit more formal. So what are you doing to look at those people? They are being taxed in just a formal way, as the limited liability companies are being taxed in the Federal Revenue Service. That's my question. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm sure you're struggling to ask the question, but he's actually speaking to some of the professional arms that are being classified also as informal sector.
Exactly.
How do you actually balance, like chartered accountants, tax practitioners, lawyers? They still regard them as informal sector. Meanwhile, they play in the big league to actually operate as a formal person. So I yield the floor to you, man, in the next 5 minutes. To respond to some of those questions before we bring that to close. You have the floor, man.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the questions. I appreciate all the commendation, and I hope that we can continue to do better. On the refund, there was a question on refund. When we find out that there's been a payment higher than what is expected, we do refunds. So I wouldn't know, maybe there's a specific transaction that this person is referring to, even up to fees from services. If you pay more than what you're supposed to, or you paid for a particular service and you are not even having that service anymore, we do refund. So I wouldn't know which one is being referred to. On the issue of water rates, yes, we are doing water rate inquiry based on the regulation. So and taxation is law. So all we do is follow the regulation that has been put in place. It was even put in place long before this administration, and that is what we are following. Mr. Lekon, thank you very much. It's always good to always relate with you. Mr. Olai, about informal sector, informal sector and advocacy. We continuously do advocacy. Earlier this year, we've done advocacy. We did a workshop on payee workshop, and even on the new tax reforms. We're always talking to people. Before, we did some radio programs, but we continue to continuously do it. We have social media platforms. One of the problems we've identified is we use social media very well. We're on all platforms. Most people find it hard using the social media for information. They would rather want us to come and talk to them. But you see, we are also very, very careful with cost cutting. So we manage our processes to the best of our ability. We'll continue to do advocacy. In fact, there are some that we started again recently. So it's something that is an ongoing process. And don't forget that we have our tax club quiz competition. We have so many things that we're doing. It's just that it is a continuous process. It's something we have to continue to do. Mr. George Awoshe, you spoke about other regions. Yes, thank you, moderator. You've in fact answered the question for me. Our own job is to find the money. We call ourselves Kowokbe. How it is spent is a different matter. And everybody keeps telling us we are the ones collecting the money. And I tell them, the way we are structured in Kwara, all monies go into IGR accounts. The IRS does not have the mandate to take a kobo out of the IGR accounts. The way it's structured is the Ministry of Finance and the Accountant General that own the mandate of all IGR accounts in Kwara State. So even if you pay, we need to refund, we need to get approval from His Excellency before we can refund you. So that's the way we run. So we make the money, we generate the money, but the spending and where it is being spent, or the projects, are really at the decision of His Excellency. And I believe that a lot of work is already done. You know the way it is, you start from somewhere before you go down. In fairness, if we look at it, the identity of Kwara State, when you say Kwara State, you first of all think about the state capital before you think about any other place. It's a fact of life. But I know there are projects that are already being run both in Kwara North and in Kwara South, other areas of Kwara, that is coming from taxpayers' money. It's just that there's a lot of work to be done. So it becomes like there's so much work. And that's why we're always on our toes trying to see how we can make more money for the state government. Advocacy, Mr. Yodimeji said the same thing too about advocacy, and also talks about the harmonized bills. What we find is, if for any reason someone is not on a harmonized bill yet, because we don't have the whole state covered, you might have instances that you describe. But what we always do, and you're a member of the House, bring all of these things up to us. You understand? And we would update. So we continuously update as necessary. And Mr. Agosu Kayode, okay, we talked about association. I'm not saying we are not working with association. We are just saying that the tax element bit in assessing their members should be left for the IRS. We appreciate the importance of the association, and they have been very, very good to us. We use them for so many other things, but we've just said that, you see, this money matter, leave it for us so that we can be sure that we collect what is right
for the government.
I don't live here. So for Mr. Agosu, yes, I think the coordinator has also responded. States are different. The rates are different from state to state. To want to have the same figure across state, I'm not sure how practical that is. And even for business premises, depends on the business, the location, even in any location. You can have business premises and have different rates for different businesses across the state. So not to talk of having the same thing for all the states in the federation. That would be a tall order, the same rate for all states. Might be a tall order, but it's something that the association can look at. Mr. Horace Onyema, I will just ask that maybe you send an email or contact us on our handle so that we can look at the issue of the returns. Basically, what we try to do is enforce everyone to send their returns in electronically. Yes, we might have had instances of files being returned because we had one that we don't want to even collect any hard copy anymore. We are that focused. So, but if you had submitted online, I don't know what has exactly happened there, but we try to enforce returns from last year. We don't want to even collect anything manually from anyone, anybody. Even the storage is the real estate space to be keeping all of these files. We're introducing document management. We want to scan everything and put it online. We don't want to be holding files. So if for any reason there has been a problem with the files you returned, or the fact that we didn't even take the online one or the soft one, please, you can contact us through our contacts for us to resolve that. And finally, Mr. Adamu Ibrahim, in Kwara, most of these semi-informal or the sector you talked about, we recognize them, especially here, as formal. So we treat them like formal taxpayers. We don't exactly leave them in informal, unless the business is so small to the level where we would categorize them as informal. So I believe that has taken care of all.
Sincerely speaking, it's been a wonderful time relating with our guests today. And I can tell you that this is a top-notch delivery for the month of March, which advanced to me that we are moving forward. But on a parting note, the collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, which CITN is one of them. We do a lot of tax advocacy, engagement, enlightenment, with all the state internal revenue service. I just want to say, in 1 minute, where are the areas you are currently collaborating and you will continue to collaborate with your institutes?
Okay. So CITN, we run a vibrant association here in Kwara, both CITN and even the suite, that is the Women in Taxation. But in Kwara, we have a program that we run. We've been running it since 2016. We have the Tax Club Quiz Competition, which we had the 7th edition last year. It's a yearly event. I think the only 2 years we didn't have it was the year of the transition from the old administration to the new, and then the year of COVID. So this year is going to be the 8th edition. We do competition for all secondary schools in Kwara State, and we are very proud, especially of our public schools in Kwara. They've been doing so well. And this program is done even with conjunction with CITN. And just recently, some few weeks ago, there was a program on schools, tax debates by secondary schools in Nigeria, and it was organized by SWEET, and the first prize was for a student of Queen's Elizabeth Secondary School in Ilorin, Hamdalat Eniola Agbola, who came first. And we had another student from Kwara Government Secondary School, that's Muminat Abdul Ganiu, who also came fourth. So we had Kwara as number 1 and number 4. It shows that we are doing a lot as far as, especially for the younger ones, we are catching them young. I think we started to do better even with the older ones. So those are some of the, and we attend most of the CITN activities, the conferences, the training, and even training by JTB. So it's a continuous process, and we sponsor some of the programs too. So we'll continue to do that because we have identified the benefits. Last year, we had so many staff of KWRS who just qualified for the associate, and several too for fellowship. So it's part of even what we use for assessment. It helps in developing professionalism in the organization, and that we hope will continue.
I can affirm to some of the brilliant things that you have said. But you see, the last of it is that you must collaborate with the CITN Taxation and you, because this is an enlightenment, and you are an ardent listener. I've hosted the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. He has done wonderfully well to me. The Plateau State, he has done his bit. The Kano State, he has done his bit. I'm coming to Kwara State, so that this program can definitely give more enlightenment that is expected of us. We sincerely want to appreciate you for being part of this program this morning. Our guest, Mrs. Shade Omoni, ACTI. And on that note, we want to appreciate our guest once again for being part of our program today, and to all our sponsors that have been there that makes this program to be what it is: the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, the Kano State Internal Revenue Service, and by proxy, because I know she will perform as the first female to be guesting on this program, the Kwara State Internal Revenue. You are one of our sponsors, and I'm sure you will get a letter very soon. We want to say a very big thank you for being part of this program in the month of March, until we come your way with another quality topic in the month of April. Tell someone to tell someone that the place to be every first Thursday is on CITN, Taxation, and you. We remain your anchor, Olusegun Okunade, and
Ayodeji Adeyemi.
bye for now.